So we're going to be studying the Kybalion by the three initiates. And I felt that this would be a good primer for all of us to work from as we go through this remarkable book. You know, folks, when I read the Kybalion, and I got to tell you, it brought the Rhema of the Logos to my spirit. And from there, it has been an awesome awakening. I believe many of you are going to feel the same way. So we're going to study the 7 hermetic principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Mentalism is the first principle, the first law. The all is mine. And folks, the all is above your perception of God. I'll just tell you, it's just flat out. The universe is mental. Thoughts lead to manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything that you think. Correspondence. That which is above is like to that which is below. That which is below is like to that which is above. Now, this is the microcosm of the very large, the totality, and the microcosm, the very small, the individual units, which comprise the whole, all the way down to those molecules, those atoms, those photons. The reflections of each other. The universe is holographic. It is self-similar across all scales. Now, I know that that seems deep. It is, but it's not as deep as you think. Some may go under the water, but you'll come back up. Vibration. Understand this. Nothing rests. Even death is a vibration. Now, it may be a sensation of the physical, but even that is still vibrating. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. At the most fundamental level, the universe and everything which comprises it is pure vibratal energy, manifesting itself in different ways. The universe has no solidity as such. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. Think about it. Polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Oh, it's wonderful. Cause and effect. The plane of effects on the physical world. This is where manifested realities have formed due to their underlying causes. The plane of effects constitutes that which has already occurred. As such, no power to affect change lies here, because that which has already occurred cannot unoccur. It has become that which is truth. Human consciousness seems to be trapped upon the plane of effects, meaning that humanity as a whole remains ignorant of the underlying causes which they themselves set into motion and which lead to self-inflicted suffering in their lives. Folks, once you begin to grasp these principles, you're going to see how every one of them have played a role in your life, your belief system, everything that is you. There's no escape. Gender. Now, this is not what you may think. Mental gender is the state of coexistence between masculine and feminine aspects of the human mind. Our left brain hemisphere largely facilitates the masculine aspect of the mind, or intellect, logic, analytical, and linear thought processes, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates the feminine aspect and intuition, creative, compassionate, and holistic through the process. Now, there's a general principles of the natural law. Natural law is expressed through 7 basic underlying principles, plus an 8th principle, which binds to the other 7 together. These principles constitute a master key, which universal wisdom, including the knowledge of the requirements to obtain what we desire, is unveiled and deculted. Yes, deculted. Now, you have been trained, I have been trained that, oh, when we think of something like the Freemasons, the Masons, the Illuminati, oh, they're bad. Get over it, folks. That was created for fools to believe. Are you a fool? I don't think so. You're a seeker of knowledge. Seekers of knowledge rise above mere superstitions and myths. We do not take that which is said to be forbidden as gospel. The lost word is a concept, esoteric Freemasonry, which represents a state of consciousness that has been largely lost to the majority of human beings. The logos, the word. In order to speak the lost word, a human being must work on themselves in order to achieve a state of equilibrium or balance between the left and right brain hemispheres. In such a state of consciousness, the being has come to know the self, as well as the working operations of natural law. And in doing so, has come to understand the objective difference between right and wrong, or as they are referred in Freemasonry, light and darkness, respectively. Now, again, you tell me where light ends and darkness begins. The human brain. This is the sole problem. Most of us have been compromised and hacked from almost the day we were born. The neocortex of the brain has 2 hemispheres. The left brain hemisphere largely facilitates logic, scientific thought, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates creativity and compassion. When both hemispheres are in balance, the neocortex acts in its proper role as the executive command center of the human brain, and true intelligence is born. Intelligence plus creativity. Now, here's where we find ourselves today. Most of the population is in a mental schism. All religions are in schisms. All politics are in schisms. So what is the schism? Well, here is the schism as we look at it from the brain. The intellect masculine. Now, if you're predominantly, as they would say, left brain, left hemisphere, can lead to rapid skepticism, scientism, atheism, solipsism, moral relativism, social Darwinism, eugenics, authoritism. If this part of the brain is chronically dominant, then you have the other side, the intuition, the feminine. Now, this can lead to naivety, blind belief, religious extremism, solipsism, unworthyism, self-loathing, order, follower, willing, slave. You see, folks, it's been designed to keep us unbalanced, to always be in opposition. And usually, if you're in opposition to yourself, you're going to be in opposition to everything in nature. And your life is going to be a living hell. Sound familiar? You are a sovereign. Now understand, sovereign is not what most of you think. A sovereign is a monarch, an archon ruler, a single ruler who rules only the kingdom of self. Sovereignty is a state in which one controls one's own thoughts, emotion, and actions. And by bringing them into unity and non-contradiction, non-duality attains mastery of one's own consciousness. Self-control equals self-mastery, who ends up self-ownership, not a slave. In order for you to ascend to your rightful place where it was destined for you to be as a God, not the God, but a God, you must master self. Otherwise, you're going to be recycled. So there's 12 universal laws that are taken from the 7 principles. The first one, the law of divine oneness, the law of vibration, the law of action, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect, the law of compensation, the law of attraction, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of relativity, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of gender. Folks, we have been taught wrongly. We have been purposely led astray, blinded, and denied. Your mind, what constitutes you, is eternal. It never stops. You never stop, folks. You never stop evolving. Most don't believe that. Most rely on myths, fairy tales, legends, stories that they read out of religious books that tell them that there's a different outcome. They're lying. They've known it. It's all about controlling you. Folks, if you are truly wanting to be free of this physical plane and move on to the next, you're going to have to know this plane much more than what you have to this point. Some are further ahead than others. Some are lagging than others. But as long as you're on the path, you begin to activate what we would call the golden crown diamond. The crown chakra, the third eye, the alta major, the side chakras. Folks, it's all starting to blend together. The tapestry is being woven. We now understand there could be even now a 12th and a 13th chakra. According to the 7 principles, this would be correct. When you look at the 7 principles, as we will, and we will be studying these, everything, folks, everything that can be called the substantial reality, the mind of the all, start from the 7 principles. And as you begin to look at sacred geometry, symbols, you're no longer afraid of the boogeyman. Because now all the pictographs, the hieroglyphs, all of the ancient writings, it all begins to make sense. No matter what the intelligence, no matter what the life form, no matter what dimension, they are all subject to the 7 principles. No exemptions, none. And as you begin to see what we would call the occultist, the mystics, as they have been branded by modern day religion, you have been told to stay away. Don't meditate, don't think, don't even look at this, because why? This is just nonsense. But to the awakened mind of self, we know what these are. Yes, we may be initiates, but we're also adepts and masters. Those listening to my voice, it's already awakening. And when we begin to look at the symbolism, we begin to understand beyond the self-limitations of religion, of thought that says, well, you can't understand this, but yes, you can. Do you not see the story here? If you know the 7 principles, you know the story. You can see this, and this is like reading a road map. It's an architectural drawing. We understand now that which seems to be so confusing, so ambiguous, obscured by thought, we understand. We know the progression. We know what the great master was teaching. We see the world for what it is. We see and recognize the unrecognized potential that lies within us and the very universe itself. We have that which lives within and that which lives without and affects everything about. We understand this now. We understand the duality of thought, purpose, destiny. We understand that there is a progression of knowledge, and as knowledge is attained and mastered, it leads to wisdom. As wisdom is gained and obtained, it leads to promotion, ascension. Hermes saw it in his great vision. From there, we now know the world is not flat. It means there are other dimensions, other realities, other vibrations, other planes of existence. And we're going to study what that word plane means. You see, folks, they left us clues. Unfortunately, so many of us, so many of those that were here before us, fell asleep under the spell. And when we looked at this, it made no sense. But we know all it takes is for the Logos to become Rhema within your spirit. Here is the great master, Thoth. Imaginary, illusionary, or real? Doesn't matter. It's mind. The Word. Who brought the Word? And the Word was the Son of God. Hermes, the great teacher. He's still here. He has been incarnated in many different forms, bodies, but the thought is still the same. He left for humanity the golden keys, Let those who have eyes see. Let those who have ears understand. Many of you know what these drawings represent. We can see the beauty. We can see the master. We can see the master creator. And we know that even that which we see, we do not fully perceive. For within a drawing is a drawing of a thought. And the thought leads to a drawing of a thought of the drawing, embedded and hidden within. Those who obtain the mastery of this knowledge, they become gods. They rule. Why? Because they've mastered that which they have been given. And it's possible for every living spirit and soul. It is not denied to any, but you must first understand the basic laws. Otherwise, you will never be allowed in. Knowledge is spoken. Wisdom is only a thought. And some thoughts lead to other thoughts. And as thoughts lead to other thoughts, they open doors of understanding. Man becomes complete. Man begins to understand and take the path to obtain his inheritance, his destiny. And man is not alone. Woman, the feminine, all are equal. Each within itself has the gender. Oh, yes. The question is, are you one of the chosen? Is this your last time? Has your journey in this life been one of travail, struggle, trying to make sense of that which you see? Then you're one. I would only say this: awake, sleeper, throw off the dross and awaken to who you truly are. Raise your vibration. That's the first key as we begin to understand. Control it, dominate it, and you become a god. The Corpus Hermeticum. We will be studying the Kybalion and the 7 principles. This will be a life-changing event. The question is, are you ready?